Welcome to everyone joining us, to our live viewers and to those watching our recording. I'm Stacy Hafner. I am a senior program manager here at Docusign, specifically focused on developer programs, and welcome to our Winners Pro Tips panel. So I have been working on the Good Code Hackathon for the past 3 years, so I'm very familiar with our 2021 program, so last year, our 2021 Good Code Hackathon, and which was also benefiting Jane Goodall Institute. And it's why we're here today to talk to our winners. So let me bring on our winners now. So we're going to welcome Mehedi Masam and Tanvir Hassan. They are our winners of last year's challenge. And here we go. Here they are. Hi, welcome and good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
So let's start off with having you each tell us a little bit about yourselves.
All right, I'll go first.
Okay.
My nickname is Masoom. I am based in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and I am a senior software engineer in the e-commerce division of Automatic. Right now, I was really looking forward to this year's Docusign hackathon, which we participated in last year. It was a great experience for me, and personally, I learned a couple of different things, and it was always a fun project to work with Tanvir. We have always had fun working on the hackathons. We have won a couple of them, and yeah, it was a really great experience for me. How about you, Tanvir?
Yeah. So, yeah, I am Tanvir. Currently, I am software engineer at Zalando. So last year I moved at Berlin. So yeah, same as Masoom. The last year hackathon winning was really great experience for us. And yeah, we learned so many things from that hackathon. Also, we are looking forward to this year hackathon also.
Great. Well, thank you both for joining us. I know you both have a lot going on, so thank you again for being here today. So with that said, what are you guys, what are you doing now since you're at the hackathon?
Yeah, while Tanvir is thinking, let me answer. I think I haven't participated in any other hackathons after the DocuScience one last year. Really, because I haven't really had the time. I recently switched jobs, so I was in between those. So I have been Automatic for last 6 or 7 months. So still pretty new. We're still getting to know with different things, different infrastructures. So still pretty new at this, and yeah, hopefully I'll get some time in near future to get myself hacking again.
For me, as you know, last year I just moved to Berlin. So it was for me the new city, new country, new culture, and also new language. I have to learn so many things and have to organize so many things with other stuff about life. And also I joined new company here. Tech related things are different, culture are different. So I have to adapt those things. So didn't get that much time to participate in hackathon. I have to learn so many things in last couple of years. Also, still learning the new thing in new companies and new countries. So hopefully, I will also go through this phase in couple of more days. Then we'll decide further thing.
Not busy at all. You're not doing anything. Right. So let's talk a little bit more about the challenge itself from last year. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. So last year's challenge ask was build an application that helps JGI, so Jane Goodall Institute, to faster review, change, update, and approve these dynamic conservation maps as part of its collaborative conservation standards plan process with multiple stakeholders in different locations using Esri's ArcGIS online platform and the Docusign e-signature API. So it was a lot. So I put just a little snippet of your problem statement that you wrote up. And for those who are joining us, please check out the team. Collabright is what their team is called. So Collabright on DevPost, and we will provide a link in the chat as well. But make sure to go check out their whole page because they did an amazing job filling out their entry form, because that's a big piece of this also. You really, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but you really did, make our judges feel like they were there throughout your building process. So your problem statement, collaborative conservation planning is an important process in the Jane Goodall Institute, but the GIS user faces a lot of trouble when they want to collaborate with external stakeholders and subject matter experts to improve a map. The inefficiency and manual handling of the collaboration process in the Institute's current workflow is the problem that we intend to solve, which we know you did. So now we know the problem statement. We're going to go ahead and watch the video and your entire entry video. And for those who are joining us, you're going to watch the full entry video, and they're going to give you some little tips as how they brought it under the 5-minute mark, because it is currently 5 minutes. But just so you know, this is not what was provided, because that's not what's in the rules. I asked them to slow it down for us for this. All right, here we go.
Collabright is a collaboration platform that sits right between the GIS and e-signature services. It allows users to pull maps from GIS and builds an interactive version of the map. Then users can invite stakeholders to a review process. Every time user releases a newer version, it syncs the latest version of the map in a Docusign envelope for the final sign-off. As you can see, I am signed into my ArcGIS account and have a map ready to be shared. I am also signed into my Docusign account. As I log in for the first time, I can see that it asks me to integrate Collabright with both ArcGIS and Docusign. Let's do that using a very simple OAuth procedure. The main concept of triggering a collaboration workflow is called an audit. Let's create a new audit based on the map we previously saw in ArcGIS. Here I am putting in an accurate title and a clear, well-defined, and easy to understand description of this audit. Now let's copy the link to my map and paste it here. As I continue, I can clearly see that the exact same map is pulled in from my ArcGIS account and it's called version 1 of the map. Once I confirm, it takes me to the audit details page. This is the one that my stakeholders are going to see. Going to the interactive map tab, I can confirm that the map is indeed interactive. I can zoom in and out, see basic functionality like toggling the map layers on and off, displaying the legends, and so on. Going over to the discussion tab, I can see a bunch of tools that I and the stakeholders can use to make comments and draw annotations directly on the map. Coming back to the details, notice a draft Docusign envelope has been created for me and it will be kept in sync with this audit. Every time I release a new version of the map, a PDF file of it will be automatically attached to the envelope. The first version of the PDF is being generated in the background and will appear here. In the meantime, let's add a signer to the audit. They will be invited to review the audit and I can send out the Docusign envelope once all signers approve of it. With a page refresh, notice that the PDF is ready and attached to the envelope. Let's open the Docusign envelope to verify. Indeed, an audit metadata file and the PDF of the first version got attached. Also, notice the audit signer got added as a recipient. Here I have the complete privacy of adding any document to my envelope and customize them as I need. As you can see, just like my GIS map, I have full control over my Docusign envelope. Let's save it and go back. I have the signer's email open in another window. They received an invitation email to collaborate on the audit by using a private and secure link. Opening the link, they can see the audit details. They can use any of the functionalities available in the interactive map. In the discussion tab, they can draw and annotate directly onto the map and leave comments or notes. They have the option to approve the audit or request changes. Either action will notify the audit creator. For example, this reviewer just requested some changes, and in the reviewer column you can see there is a red indicator beside their name. Going over to the GIS user's inbox, notice that a notification email arrived regarding the review submission by a signer. I also received in-app notifications for the comments as well. In the discussion tab, I can see the comments and I can go over to ArcGIS to make the requested changes. I can mark comments as completed to keep track of things, and once I am ready I can release the next version of the map. Let's put in a small description of what's changed. It will create version 2 of the map and trigger the same flow that it did in the first one. Let's make sure both versions of the map exist. I can switch between the versions and see comments associated with each version. The signer will receive an email notification for this version as well. This time around, they are happy with the update and approve the audit. Once again I get a notification. Now that all signers have approved the audit, I can send out my draft Docusign envelope for their sign-off. Notice that the latest version of the map got attached to the envelope. Let's send it out and see what's received on the other side. Now the standard Docusign workflow kicks in and the signer gets an email from Docusign. Opening the email I can verify both audit metadata file and the latest version of the map is present. Now the signer signs it off. Within a few moments, the envelope status of the signer turns green, indicating that this signer has indeed signed. Awesome, isn't it? Pro tip: if you have a regular set of reviewers, you can add them as your contacts on this page. That way you can easily search by their name when inviting them to an audit. Our work here is done, let's close the audit. Now you understand how Collabright facilitates the collaboration process and automates the whole workflow.
All right, that was great. So let's talk about why this submission won. I'm going to bring you guys both back on here. So why this submission won? So it's such an impressive solution, and I am a part of the judging teams. This was by far the most favored solution throughout the entire process. So kudos to both of you. And so I will speak to, unfortunately, Dr. Lillian Pintia, who's the VP of Conservation Science. He wasn't able to join us today, but he's on his way to a conservation site in Tanzania currently. So a little bit tough to get here. So I'm going to read, I have some bullet points of what he said there, but I'm going to read his whole quote because I think that is such a fantastic I think it was such a fantastic quote that he provided, and it really, summarizes what the entire leadership team that looked at this felt. All right, so Team Collabright's process spoke to us on how the ArcGIS platform and the Docusign platform had been integrated and how the workflows had been merged. I really like that it didn't try to replicate some mapping functions and truly leverage the powerful ArcGIS platform of what the ArcGIS platform can offer, and bringing that into an environment where this experience can be more mainstreamed, easier, and more effective for a more effective user experience. I also really liked the level of documentation of the mapping process. When you have so many different stakeholders, you do your best to capture everything, but having a place where the actual map and the reaction, edit approvals are all documented in one place was really good. And I really like the level of detail in which the developers thought through what type of changes and needs this conservation process might have. So again, great job. Now I'd like to speak to where this is going. So Jane Goodall Institute, how this is so impactful to these organizations. Jane Goodall Institute is currently working to implement this, this process and this application. And Docusign has provided some additional grants to Jane Goodall Institute in order to provide them some assistance in facilitating this to get going. And they should be looking at, they're actually looking to implement that pilot here in the next 6 months, which is wonderful. So congratulations again. Now let's hear from both of you. We've got some questions, and I know you have some answers. Enough of hearing about me, or from me, excuse me. So now, why? What stuck with you about this challenge that made both of you say we've got to participate in this?
For me, uh, I initially uh, got an email. Can you hear me right? All right. So I got an email from DevPost that, hey, we think that this is some hackathon that you might be interested in, because social good is kind of one of my interests in why I participate in hackathons. So I looked at, I just skimmed through the requirements, and it really stuck to me because the requirements given was so clear. And being as a software engineer, when you are given a clear requirement and you are given uh, a a tool to build, you cannot resist. So that's why I first, you know, I really thought that this is something that we can engineer. This is a problem that we can slice and dice, and we can you know figure it out, and we can build this thing. So that is why I first got motivated. The problem statement was so beautifully written and well explained. It really hooked me.
Yeah, as Masum said, at one night, Masum sent me those links about this hackathon. Hey, Tanvir, I got a link about this hackathon. Maybe it could be very interesting thing to build. Then I did some research on the problem given, and I found that the Jane Goodall Institute tried to solve, and they are working about the thing is really interesting. And I think in like that, if we can give a solution to them, it might be a very helpful to them. So that's why I got motivated about this hackathon, and also thinking solving this kind of problem is always interesting thing for an engineer. So that's how I got motivated for this hackathon.
Great. That makes me happy to hear also it was such a clear description. So next, let's see. Let's talk about, so what languages and which frameworks did you use for your application?
Um, for the front end, we used mainly React.js, and for the mapping parts that are coming in from Esri, they had this JavaScript SDK and all sorts of things that you as a developer that you need to you can use rather than build from scratch. So they had these SDKs and they had these tools. So we didn't have to build much manually for the Esri mapping. And in the backend, we used Python, and I think we used Django, right, Tanvir?
Yeah, we use Django framework, and in the for the backend database we use PostgreSQL.
Yep.
And as you know, we already did some hackathon together, so we have some kind of template, backend template for building and participating those kind of hackathon. So we also use our custom build template for this hackathon.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Great. So let's dive a little further. So what IDE did you use and would you recommend it?
This is the fun part. I think I'm going to wait for Tanvir for this one.
Okay, what I am now going to say, maybe most of the people don't gonna like it, but personally, I like to use Vim. I have customized Vim configuration, and I everything related to coding and text editing, I do it in Vim. And also I try to motivate other people to use Vim because Vim is free and it's open source license. You don't have to pay anything. You just have overall whole control over the Vim. You can write your plugin. You can change whatever you like. So that's why I like Vim. But maybe Masum use different thing.
Yeah, I am a VS Code guy. So ever since after open sourced VS Code, I have been using it. Pre- Before that, I used to use some JetBrains IDs, but yeah, after VS Code, there is no, there's no going back.
I love that it was like, so it's a little controversial here. I'm going to let him talk about that. All right. So while building, did you run into any unexpected issues while you were developing the app?
Yes, let me give you a context before. Uh, when we started building this application, there one was the mapping and the other one was the DocuSign API. So I let Tanvir take control of the DocuSign API and build anything related to the backend for this API, and I took over the mapping thing. So everything is done from the mapping perspective was done by me, and I kind of got stuck at a really interesting problem. So in the demo video, you can, if you remember, um, you have to put a link to your map, and then it shows you a preview of the map. But what we could have done was, without showing the preview, we could have saved it in the backend in the and save the definition of the map. But we realized that the SDK that Esri gives us, it does not allow you to download the definition of the map without rendering it in the front end. So that is kind of a hack that we did, or kind of I did, to display the map in the front end and then download the definition of the map in the background. But I presented it in a way that it became kind of a step of the application that you can see, hey, this is the preview of the map that I'm going to pull in from the ArcGIS. But that was not really the purpose. The purpose was, it was a behind this was a hack going on that is downloading the map in the background. So there was a fine little interesting thing. And I think when you participate in hackathons, and you ought to do this kind of tricks, because you cannot hope everything will go in your way. So you'll have to improvise and be prepared to hack whenever you want, whenever you need to.
About the DocuSign part, we use, as I remember, we use a Python client to consume the DocuSign API. And suddenly we found some mismatch between code and the client code and the documentation. And the way we want to use the client and it not work expected it describing the documentation. So I go through the whole Python client source code, and I start writing top to down how its client built. And I found that some of the DocuSign API was not integrated in the client. So because of that problem, we can't also use those DocuSign functionalities. Then we have to come up with a new solution. We also change our workflow of the software because of those bugs. Because we want to use the client, because we at that time we don't have that much time to build or use those API from the ground, because as you know, the Python client give you some abstraction. You don't have to build from the scratch. So we don't have that much time to build the whole DocuSign API calls and implementation from the scratch. So we came up an idea, we're gonna change our software workflow. So that's how we overcome those problems.
Great. So really just keep problem solving, be flexible. Yeah. All right, let's see. Oh, let's see. So so we talked about unexpected issues. So what was your biggest challenge throughout the build process?
I would say uh, the, the biggest challenge was putting in all those different pieces together. We have so when we if you remember, I think that Tanvir was still in Dhaka back then, right? So we were working remotely, and uh, every night we used to discuss like how much we have come alongside the plan, and then we realized we have this part going and this part going and this part going, but we don't have the whole thing together. So uh, when we started stitching the whole thing together, we realized that this wouldn't work because this depends on this, and then this depends on this. So these different kind of things depending on each other, but everything is working independently. So at one night, I remember that um, I was saying Tanvir that we are probably not going to make it because uh, there is still so much to stitch together, and we do not know how to you know put them together to make the application as a whole. So we had
Yeah,
to
this
discuss.
problem was because of the Docusign API integration, as I remember. Then
All
we
right.
changed the whole application workflow.
Yeah.
As we initially planned, it not goes to the very end that initial plan was. We changed lot of workflow in the application
Yeah,
after
I do
facing
not
this problem.
I do not remember exactly, but it was probably something related to the um, how the the PDF file is uploaded, or the sign up is done. So we had to change a few paths in the workflow of the code itself to get that working. So I would say that that would be the biggest challenge. But the thing is that you are going to find these challenges when you are building or when you are hacking, because that is the main fun part of hacking or hackathons.
Okay. So let's see. With all the hard work you put into this specific hack, what are you most excited about with this application?
I think the most exciting part would be to see it live. That is helping Goodall Institute. I think that is the most fulfilling part of this hack, because when we started to build together, I remember I spent a couple of days just to do the research, why they are why they want the software, why this is a problem for them, and why how people are are solving this at this current world. So at first I kind of opened an account in ArcGIS, and I did some research, and I realized that you cannot collaborate with people who are you know um, outside of your GIS account. For example, you run a company, and you have, for example, 30 seats in your ArcGIS system. So you have to manage those 30 seats carefully. But again, you want to talk to some different stakeholders who are may not be necessarily in your company, but some different from different background, from different organization, and have different expertise. So how do you share your map with them? So that is kind of a big challenge that that Goodall Institute was having. So they have to make the map as a PDF, or make the map as a JPEG image, and then have to email it to those third party experts, and then they have to go through whole back and forth email conversation. So the email chain goes bigger and bigger, and information gets lost in those chain. So after I kind of went through all this pain that kind of the Jane Goodall Institute kind of feels, I I realized that this is going to help them a lot if we can pull this off. And that is kind of the biggest fulfillment, or the biggest satisfaction that gives me, that we have solved a real world problem that is going to have impact in a in an in an NGO that is dedicated to improve the world.
Great. Well, and that was why I have to say that from the perspective of our, the judging process and the leadership team, that was really where your winning project stood out, is that you could see how much detail you had gone into and how much research you both had done prior to or during your build process. You really did put yourselves in the shoes of the people who would be utilizing this tool. And I know that that made that definitely put you over the top. So keep saying it. Congratulations again. So let's move on to, you both have done more than one hackathon. You have both won more than one hackathon, or I'm pretty sure. So can you tell us what are some of your tried and true pro tips that you can share? Like what are some of those little nuggets of information that you've learned throughout building?
Tanvir, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so in a hackathon, like uh, our or everybody, a first approach should be solve a real life problem. Okay, so before building any software, you have to think about it, that whatever you are going to build, will it solve a real life problem? Will it make other people life easy or not? Like if you build something very fancy and very amazing thing, but it not gonna solve any real life problem, or it not going to make other life easy, then there is no value of making those software. So we always try to put this kind of thing in our hackathon project. And also one good thing we try to follow, that making software as simple as possible. If you see our the winning software UI, you can see the whole workflow is very simple, UI is very simple, and everything is very simple to understand. The without context, people can very easily get the whole software idea how it works. So it's the another key thing to make your software simple and without any complex workflow.
Yeah, great points. I would like to add on top of that, uh, probably, uh, I think the first point Tanvir mentioned was really important. Like, uh, know what you are going to build. Like before you jumping into the code, before you jumping through the documentation, just plan it out and see how that solution that you have in mind, how that solves the problem. If that doesn't bring any value, if it doesn't solve any problem, uh, then then you may have built a complex software, and may have built a big fancy piece of software, but that doesn't help anyone. So yeah, so agreeing with Tanvir on the first point. And the other point, I would like to say that you should um, spend some time on presenting your software as well. So a lot of people, a lot of good people uh, make that complex software, or do the hard work of doing or building the software. Then again, they fall a little bit short in terms of the presentation. So how you present your software is is really an important part. How you kind of, for example, think about it, like you are a CEO of a company and you want to you know uh, have some funding for your software. So how are you gonna pitch it to your investors? So it's a kind of the same idea works here. So in here um, we are showcasing our software, whatever we have built, to the judges, to people, if there's a voting involved. So spend some time, or adjust your timing in a way that you have some bandwidth at the end, just to work on your presentation. So um, if you look at the video of Collabright, you can see that the video itself took a lot of planning, because we had to switch between one view to another to go through the whole end-to-end process. And I remember it took nearly 10 to 15 takes between me and Tanvir to get that the correct flow going. So it is going to take some time, and you have to plan it too, but you have to, you cannot just think that your code is going to win a hackathon, or a code is going to win over your investors. You have to present it as well. So I think that is a really important thing.
One thing I like to add, like presentation is very important thing, and also don't make your presentation very big. If you make a very big presentation, then judges or other people gonna get very bored very easily if you make a very big presentation. If you watch our old winning hackathon from dev post, you will see most of our presentation within 2 minute 30 seconds to 3 minutes. So it's another key point to present your software in a short time.
Yeah, that is a very good point. For example, I have seen a lot of people uh, make the presentation from the sign up. So how can a user can sign up, how can a user can sign in, those kind of stuff. But when you are showing those kind of stuff for a couple of minutes, then the judges, the allocated time for judges, that couple of minutes is already gone. So you have to find the meaty part of your software, that you have to focus on that, and you have to present it. You have to leave out the common stuff, for example, the login, the signups, etc. Everybody knows how that works. So you can focus on the meaty part of your solution. Or also, if you have some time just at the beginning, you should explain how your software is solving a particular problem. If the judges do not understand what is the problem that you are trying to solve. For example, in Docusign Hackathon, the problem is very specific, but there are a lot of open-ended hackathons where you do not have any specific um, problem to solve. So you should always talk about like 30 seconds, 30, 40 seconds, just talk about what is the problem that you are trying to solve, and then show the solution. Because if you just jump to the solution first, then people do not know what you are trying to do. So that is as simple as that.
I think that was a ton of amazing advice right there. That is one thing that we get so many questions about, is the final video, the final submission, especially the video, but really hitting on the, making sure that it is clear, concise, and that it is almost as important as your project itself. So you guys both, as I said, you did a fantastic job on that. So those who are watching, please, are joining us, please make sure that you go over and watch their video again and then check out their entire entry sheet and winning project on DevPost. We've dropped that link in there and we'll provide it again. All right, we've got a question from the audience. So tips to understand Docusign API. I can answer some of that too.
Tanvir?
How I just try to remember how I understand those things. Just read the official documentation. That's it. I read from the very beginning, and as I remember, there is a architecture how DocuSign works, and you will get the whole idea how it works. But yeah.
Uh, I think one tip about not really about DocuSign API, about any API, when it's a kind of big, a lot of endpoints, you should first get an overview of what is on offer. So you can see that this bunch of APIs is doing that, and there's this bunch of APIs are doing that. So once you get an overview of what you have been offered, and then you have in your mind you have these kind of problems that you want to solve through this API. So once you have this overview, and you can then look for these particular bits. But reading the API from like a book from A to Z, that doesn't work.
So I would just add to that DocuSign provides, DocuSign developers specifically provides a lot of resources, and I'm going to provide some of that as well. So we are in our last few minutes, so I want to give you both a chance to give your final thoughts. So if you're talking to, I like to ask this question, everyone, if you're talking to your younger self, what is one thing that you would have been like for your very first hackathon that you did, or even just getting into engineering? Like, what is one thing you wish you knew? You know now that you would have known then?
I would say that if you believe that you can do something, and then you probably can do that. If you do not believe that, you will never be able to do that. And I have learned this I think a lot later than I wanted to. Like for example, many people particularly in jobs, or going through different, taking different challenges. If you do not believe that you can pull it off, then it is not going to happen. You have to believe it. And I think that is something I wish I knew from the very beginning.
That's really good advice. And Tanvir?
Yeah, from my side, it's also same. Because when we together, me and Masum do the first hackathon, and Masum told me maybe we are gonna win this hackathon, and I feel like he's definitely kidding me, because I was not that much confident. Because it was also for me the first international hackathon, and I wasn't that much confident that we can gonna win it. And yeah, own it, but yeah, then I start believing that yeah, it's possible to win
So then
this
maybe
one.
listen to your cheerleaders. There you
Yes.
go. Great. Well, I appreciate both of you being here. And then for those of us, or for those joining us, I will go through this year's challenge very quickly, and then I will provide a slide with resources. So once again, thank you to Tanvir and Masum for being here. This was so amazing. I've had such a great time, and I know that everybody who's watching and joining our recording are going to really enjoy this as well. So thank you both again, and have a great afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Goodbye.
Thank you. All right. As I said, wasn't that great? But as I said, I'm just going to quickly go through this year's challenge. So if you have not yet, please join, register for the hackathon at DevPost. And I will, you're going to see that link here in just a minute. So we have our Jane Goodall Institute challenge this year. You're going to be integrating geospatial field data collection and camera trap workflows for conserving chimpanzees and their habitats for the Jane Goodall Institute. We also have our Greater Good Challenge, so you can choose one of two, or you could do both if you've got that much time. So that is build an innovative web or mobile application that automates and connects agreement e-sign processes for a nonprofit organization of your choice. What I specifically call out here, it does need to be a 501c3 or your local equivalent if you're outside of, if it's a nonprofit outside of the US, to be eligible to win. And we do check into that. Then we have 50K up, 50,000 USD up for grabs. So first, second, third in both categories. There is more money towards Jane Goodall Institute. Spoiler alert, we want you to do that one. And then, so we also have opportunity for bonuses for beyond Docusign e-signature. Winners are eligible, as well as submissions that are not, that have not won first, second, or third. So everybody can win these prizes. So we have beyond Docusign e-signature, and we also have best use of Esri APIs or ArcGIS survey 1, 2, 3. And that is with regards to our Jane Goodall Institute challenge. All right, finally, here are our resources. This is where you want to go. This is your single source of truth. So we want you to go to our DevPost site for all your information. That's going to give you the fine print, rules, regulations, all of that. Make sure to join our Slack channel. That's where you're going to find a lot, or that's where you're going to get announcements. You're going to also have access to engineers from Docusign, Jane Goodall Institute, and Esri, to be able to ask your questions if you're getting stuck. And then finally, as I had mentioned prior, check out the Docusign Developer Center. That is that's where the first place you should go when you're getting started on this. That's where you're going to be able to learn all about DocuSign and our APIs. So that is where you're going to get started, and your free sandbox account. And then next week on July 19th, please join us at 9 a.m. for an Esri overview. You are going to want to join this session, especially if you are participating in our Jane Goodall Institute Challenge. Now, with that, that's all I have for you today. Oh, just kidding. I forgot. I got to put my influencer hat on. Hey, guys. Make sure to follow us on Twitch and click the notification so you do get an automatic notification when we do go live. Because as you can see, we have a pretty great live calendar that we've got coming up during the hackathon. All right, that's it. I'm taking the hat off. I hope everybody had a great time this morning, and we will see you again on July 19th for our Esri overview. Have a wonderful rest of your day or evening. Thanks.